Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novi-Williams, and this is the Dented Shield Sports Business Podcast, the Sporticast.
What? Nothing Tour de France related? You're all waxing poetic about the tour and the guy in the front and the human condition and the agony and the nothing like it. And then you tell me the dude out front has no chance of maintaining his 8-second lead. He's just up there so that his sponsors can get airtime. I don't get it. I don't get you. Best time of year.
Those weeks in July when the Tour de France is happening, it's the best.
Oh, I disagreed with you. Like if you're telling me the dude out front, he's won the most stages. Was it Cavendish? He's won the most stages.
Yeah, look at you, Scott. Very nice. Yeah, tied for the most. Maybe after this recording has won the most. Who knows?
Is this not the same as leading the most number of laps in the Daytona 500 or Indy 500 and not winning the race?
It's very different. It's very different.
Why is it very different? What do I get? What do I get out of winning a stage?
Well, for most people in the race, the stage is a race. It's not a component of the whole thing. It's an individual thing. So stage winners are very highly celebrated. They can make or break a team's business success. So the guy who won stage 2 is on a team called Arcana. They have never won a Tour de France stage before. The fact that they've already won one now certainly makes their entire tour. It probably makes their entire year financially. It gives them financial stability for next year.
I wish I knew somebody at a sports business publication to tell me this story.
Hey, look, this is the point of doing it, right? This is, it is quite fast. I mean, there's like 20 teams in the tour.
Yeah.
Realistically, 5 of them have an actual remote chance of winning the tour. One of their riders has a remote chance of actually winning the whole thing. So for all the other 15, they're here for something else. And it's individual stage wins. It's time on screen. It's all these other competitions,
it's
not just the
flowers and the podium. I know what it is.
Yeah. You grab the plush little lion and you grab the bouquet and the women are standing next to you and you get the photo shoot. That is what sponsors pay for. And if you can deliver that by winning just a single stage at the tour, for a lot of teams, that is the definition of success. And to get it early in the event means that everything else is gravy.
I still cannot. I cannot eliminate the stain the sport has sustained to me. I cannot
believe doping.
Yes, if you're telling me this stuff is all beyond human condition and ability and it's extra human, well, there's a reason for that.
Yes, I would argue that like all of sports are, right? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Your baseball players, your NFL players, certainly
to a degree.
To a degree. Yeah, it's slightly different. I get it, but yeah, I love the tour. I think it's fascinating, and from a business standpoint, Scott, it's got a lot of the hallmarks of things we see in other sports, and then there's very specific cycling things that make it unique and interesting.
If they have a quarter-mile stage, I have a shot. That's the one I want to compete in, the quarter mile. With a head start, I'm going full speed when I hit the line, and everybody has to catch me. And it's one lap around what you would consider to be your high school track. I got a shot.
How short the race would have to be for you, even
with
if
a head start. Like
still.
I'm moving full speed.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. I think it's less than a quarter mile, but it's
eighth of a mile.
I think an eighth of a mile you might have a chance. Maybe.
This is my pose when I win. I get the 2. I got to back up. That's my like that.
Can you ride without your hands on the handlebars?
Sure, of course.
Yeah, I can't.
What do you mean? Well, you can't do that?
No.
But didn't you ever partake when you were in elementary school with Safety Sally?
No.
No?
I did not do Safety Sally.
When you ride your bicycle, keep as cool as an icicle. Don't ride out from between parked cars. And here's the pertinent part. Keep your hands on the handlebars.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I subscribe to that theory quite vibrantly. Yeah.
Yes. But really, why can't you do that?
I don't know. I've never been able to figure out the balance part of it. Even on like fat tire bikes, I struggle with it.
Really? But Mongoose, 10 speed, you name it. I can go down there and do.
There you go. So you can do the sponsor. You see them. They put their arms out. They point.
That's what
chest.
Yeah. So you technically would be worse off because you can't celebrate that way. Like you can't have the logo across your chest. And
I also can't win, so there's another problem there. But
well, you're closer to winning than I am. Anyway, I don't know who's going to win the NFL Sunday ticket overall. Sunday, but I know the NFL took the first L here in this debate. Ordered to pay $4.7 billion, and once again, I love reading Mr. Mike McCann because he breaks it down in a way that we can completely understand it. And should I give I think the sentence, or at least the synopsis that really I think will help people understand what this is about?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So in essence, the NFL, that's your entity, but you've got 32 teams. Those 32 teams are competing businesses.
Yeah.
They compete for the trophy that, they are competing businesses. Okay. Consumers are supposed to benefit when businesses compete. That's how you keep prices down. However, what the NFL has done in the case of Sunday Ticket, which allows you to watch out of market games, which means if you are a Jets fan living in New York, or a Giants fan in New York, or a Jaguars fan in Jacksonville, you can watch your team. You're welcome. You can, by the way, QB1, new contract and a baby on the way.
Yeah, look at that. Trevor
Attaboy, QB1. There you go.
Big month down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, a lot of awards I'm hearing too for all of their videos I'm hearing.
Yeah, shout out to Asher, winning Webby's Tribeca Film Festival and winning at Cannes for the schedule release video that he made for the Jaguars 2 years ago. Good friend of mine, Asher Grodman. Probably not listening, but probably should be.
What do you mean probably not listening?
Definitely not
should be listening. All right, anyway. So if you are a Jaguars fan, you live in Jacksonville, you can watch all of your team's games over the air, unless there's an exclusive Amazon game or something like that. Oh no, you probably still get to watch it in your home market.
Yeah, I think you do.
Okay, but if you're a Jaguars fan living in, let's say, LA or Green Bay, the only way to watch your team is to get Sunday Ticket. And you get, by the way, every single out of market game. So you can watch everything. Now that's now then these competing businesses, that is all sold together. That is your option to do it. So the courts have come in and said, no, the businesses should compete. So that is an antitrust violation. And they were ordered to pay $4.7 billion. I know you like to talk about treble damages. So we can triple that is what that means. But we will not have I would say, a final conclusion for years to come. This will then go to the Ninth Circuit on appeal and possibly, according to McCann, all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Good synopsis there, Scott.
Thank you.
I was one of these people who, when this first learning about this lawsuit, was very confused about why an individual entity pricing its own product could be antitrust. But as you said correctly, this isn't an individual entity. The NFL is 32 businesses that are supposed to be competing. The NFL has, I believe, an antitrust exemption for its national broadcast rights, the ones that go to CBS and Fox and NBC and ESPN. And the jury here was trying to determine whether that antitrust exemption would cover Sunday Ticket or whether it wouldn't. And in reading some stories, I think Andrew Brandt did a good breakdown of this, but there were a few smoking guns in there, including evidence that CBS and Fox had specifically pushed the NFL to keep the price high, $350 a year for Sunday Ticket. Apparently ESPN at one point went to the NFL and said, what do you think about doing a team by team out of market offering? And the NFL declined to do that. So there was some evidence in here that at least at the NFL level, there were options or considerations that were separate from the way they were thinking about the way they think about their national deals. This is you mentioned the 4.7, multiply that by 3, $14 billion, Scott. This is a rare time that we talk about an NFL business setback. And the NFL chose not to push for a settlement before this went to trial. I assume because they assumed that they had a pretty good legal standing, and at least for now, there's going to be appeals and probably a lot of them, but they mischaracterized that. And we don't see that very often in the NFL. And this is a lot lot of money. 4.7 billion.
We should say even for the NFL.
For the NFL.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
Especially if that gets tripled to 14.1, that's like 75% of a year's worth of revenue.
Annual revenue. Yeah.
Yeah. So not an insignificant amount by any chance, but I mean, one of the big things, I mean, this is the American legal system, right? But it's going to be years, I think, before we have a sense of whether the NFL actually lost here or whether they just lost at one point before winning later on. And that also means if you're a consumer, an NFL fan sitting at home and you saw the headlines and you thought, I'm a Sunday Ticket subscriber, what do I get here financially? It's going to be years before any sort of understanding of what this settlement actually means for NFL fans who have bought this $350 package for the last 10 years because it was the only option for watching their games.
Do you understand the reference if I say Eddie the Eagle? Does that mean anything to you?
Is that Ed Balfour?
No, that is not Eddie Bell for the goaltender of the Chicago Blackhawks. No, that is not.
Was his nickname not Eddie the Eagle?
No, this is not the one I'm going. No,
okay,
no, this is no.
So no, I don't know. What
Eddie the Eagle's one of those ski jumpers, and like he was really bad, but qualified for his country's Olympic team.
Gotcha. Okay.
So everybody else is going. I don't know how many meters, but he was dwarfing that, and just not really deserving to be there, but made it anyway. So that was Eddie the Eagle. I don't remember if he wiped out or not. But the reason I bring this up is because I'm about to get right over my skis. If it's okay with you, if I don't mind.
Good. Yeah.
We've had a lot of SCOTUS news recently.
We have.
So overturning Chevron, which in essence means that the courts and not sort of experts will decide whether or not something is viable. And you just wonder here now, if I'm an NFL owner and I'm looking at antitrust and sort of deregulation and sort of a conservative court, do you want to take your chances and say this does go to SCOTUS and say at the end of the day, they'll say, no, this is fine. We're not going to leave this up to sort of a government agency to decide.
I think you do, and you certainly do if you keep losing in lower courts, that's for sure. Mike McCann had a really great piece. He's written about it before, but apparently Justice Kavanaugh. So this case began back in 2015. And Justice Kavanaugh offered a statement at one point, essentially saying that the court doesn't necessarily feel like pooling broadcast rights is problematic under antitrust laws. Now, obviously, that's very different than the court ruling as such, but that at least opens the door at the highest court in the land to this idea that maybe there is a legal understanding or a legal belief among some legal scholars that the way that this is set up, and I don't know obviously the nuance here, but that the idea of the NFL pooling these rights and selling it as one is not anti-competitive.
Let me ask you this.
There's at least a door open there in some capacity.
Let me ask you this. You are the Jaguars fan. You live out of market. What would you pay? Let's say it's a streaming, whatever, an app or whatever. What would you pay for every Jaguars game?
I mean, I'm not a big enough fan to really.
But if but you know people who are. What do you think that would be?
So we have fans right now paying $350 a year.
Yeah.
And some of them want to watch all the games, but you got to figure some of these subsets. So you'd think it would be significantly smaller. I don't know. 150 doesn't sound crazy to me.
Right. 150 for one team, and I can get 32 for 350. That you led me right to where I was going unwittingly. Okay. I'm just thinking, and you know me, I'm very price sensitive. That's the nicest way I can say it.
You and me both, my friend. Yeah.
Ask those who live with me. I'm very price sensitive as long as I get value. Doesn't seem crazy to me. If I'm a big football fan, and I know there's red zone, there's whip around shows and all that, but get them all, like every single game. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that no matter what happens, the $350, from what I understand, the $350 big option can still be around, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think it's as long as there's lower price points for different options.
For an
that seems to be
for an a la carte offering.
The big question, right? Like I think it's that's the big that's the big one to me. And I don't know. I mean, there's also like there's a YouTube angle here too, right? YouTube has a 7-year, $14 billion deal for Sunday Ticket. I thought it was interesting, and again, I'm not a legal scholar. I'm sure there's a reason for this, but I thought it was interesting that YouTube wasn't directly involved in this, and I know they were not the partner going back all the way, but the NFL and YouTube set this price together, I would think, right? And I know the NFL is the rights holder, but I do also curious what this means. I had an interesting chat with Jacob Feldman, our colleague, about this exact topic. Is this bad for YouTube? Is it good for YouTube? He had the belief, which I think is interesting, that the more a la carte some of these packages can get, the more interest there may be from streaming services.
Yeah.
So in some ways, and I know in the NFL YouTube relationship here, the NFL is driving the bus. I'm very aware of that. But if the NFL were to go to YouTube and say, oh, that Sunday Ticket partnership we have, that's now, you can sell it team by team. You can sell it week by week. You can sell whatever it is. You have to break that up. And here's all the different price points. That might actually be good news for YouTube, according to Jacob, which I think is interesting as well.
And I'm going to put my NFL owner hat on, and let's say I am savvy in the digital world.
Sell it all now.
No. I'm not. No. I am really cash flow positive, no matter what. Even it's fine. I'm holding on to my NFL team. Thank you very much. I'll find a way to write this off. Don't you worry. Let's say I have a team that has great fan base, national appeal, international appeal. I am the New England Patriots.
Okay.
I am Jonathan Kraft. I am the chair of the digital committee of the NFL. am I not figuring out a way in a world where we're headed to D2C, where I think I can probably be better off, whether it's data consumption or data capture, where I have the direct relationship anyway with my fans? Let me control my singular broadcast. Let me go to fans. I don't know. Speaking of I have the phone call right now from the focus group of one. I wonder how he's going to watch it, but I will not take it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is yes, but as you know, the brilliance or the key ingredient into the NFL's business model and success was getting owners to forego that feeling, right? Getting an owner like Jerry
Wellington
Jones
Mara
to share the same amount of money from national TV deals as
Yeah,
Mike
but you are
Brown
going to
does
share.
in
Yeah, but you are
in
going to share the
Cincinnati.
national. You are going to share the national money. This is an a la carte offering of those out of town wanting to watch your games.
Yeah, and you think you can make an argument if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals owner that this is national.
Not as good.
This is still national, and you could theoretically still package this in the same way and distribute it nationally, even though there's more Cowboys packages selling than Bengals packages, which is my hunch of where this would go if it needed to. But yes, I think there's so much that NFL owners, and Jerry Jones has not been quiet about this in the past, of his belief that
the Cowboys can do Jerry Jones better. Has not been quiet about this. I like that line.
Yeah, the Cowboys can do things better and more economically beneficial solo. But again, the reason the NFL has had a lot of success is that they are, more so than any other league in the U.S., they are sharing national revenue perfectly evenly. And yeah, it would take a massive departure, I think, of philosophy at the ownership level to really let individual teams do their own thing with their out of town rights.
It's gonna be interesting when you get to sort of, yes, that is that sort of, what do they, socialize the cost, privatize the profit? You mentioned Andy Brand earlier. That's the good line we all like. Yes, but when I pay $6 billion for my franchise versus coming in and one of my partners paid whatever much less, you're gonna say, wait a minute, I need a way to monetize my team a little bit more than you did. I came in at a crazy high price point.
You have your local revenue, right? Like you have.
Yeah,
there's a reason the Cowboys are still the most valuable team. It's because on top of the share that everybody else gets, they're also monetizing.
But so you have carve outs
Texas so well.
Yeah. But there's also things that are exempt from revenue sharing there. That's the point. Stuff your merch you sell in stadium, your clubs and suites, and that's a different maker. What you can do locally, even though it's not live games, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you want to talk about, Bronny James? What are we talking about, Bron?
Yeah, and we recorded right before the NBA draft last week. Bronny James, maybe surprisingly, maybe to no one's surprise,
to no one's surprise,
55th overall to the Los Angeles Lakers, home of his father, LeBron James. I think the question heading in was he was not going to get past the Lakers at 55. Did somebody else want to take him? I saw some reports.
Not with Rich Paul telling everybody not
agents,
to.
His agents at Clutch were telling teams that if they took him before the Lakers, that he would not be playing with that team, which maybe doesn't seem like a terrible thing. I don't know. As I said last week, I'm fascinated by the Bronny James story because he has so much value in addition to whatever value he can and cannot provide on the basketball court. He has so much value off it pertaining to both his own social media stardom, but I think more importantly or more acutely, what LeBron James wants to do in terms of playing with him and how much he's willing to play his cards to get it. It becomes a lot easier now that he was drafted by the Lakers. It doesn't mean that LeBron has to, at least not right now. He can stay in Los Angeles if he wants to and play with his son if he wants to. But it launched, and this is the thing I want to get your thoughts on, Scott. It launched across media a discussion about nepotism. Unsurprisingly, a lot of people criticizing LeBron for whatever role he did or did not play in the Lakers drafting Bronny James, who most scouts, I should say, do not put in a first or second round talent, at least not right now. And then there's another side, which I also think is making good points about how nepotism is everywhere in business and everywhere in the NBA business as well. And we see it with owners, and we see it with their owners' sons and daughters, and we see it with executives and their sons and daughters. And why would NFL player ranks be any different? I mean, I certainly see both sides of this, and far be it from me to tell LeBron James how to be a father. I would never do that. But I do think it was an interesting conversation about nepotism in sports, which is, I think, a lot more prevalent than even some clued in sports and basketball fans know.
I would love for David J. Stern to be able to give his take right now, because you know what David's big take always was about the NBA, that it was, and sports in general, that the NBA in particular was the ultimate meritocracy. And David used to sum it up this way: if you can play, you can play. It didn't matter. One would argue here that perhaps there are folks out there who can play better than Bronny James, but it did not matter. That being said, I don't understand the criticism at all. Like it's, I mean, other than you need something for talk radio and some of these, you know, shout fests. Other than that, you know, hey, leverage is leverage. Everybody uses it every damn day. How many kids in our business you're getting phone calls? Hey, I have a friend. My kid needs an internship. Do you know? Can you help? Can you? Like Bronny's going to help his kid in any way he can, and if he wants to play, or LeBron, sorry, if he wants to play with his son, or if he thinks it gives him a leg up, or surely they have had the discussion, I would think, in the house. Do you want me to do this? Do you want to, you know, go to the Lakers? I have no problem with a player utilizing whatever leverage he or she has to get what he or she wants. And that goes true for salary. That goes true for free agency and where you're picking to play. Like you mentioned it. I mean, you know where I think the owners are flexing their muscle all the time when it comes to nepotism. We've heard about it in the referee ranks, that there are so many kids of referees who have become professional referees. Do they know better because they were brought up around it, because they lived that? Maybe, but it just seems odd that many kids of officials would also become officials over a whole talent pool across the world. So I do get the argument, but I don't get the argument. But I have absolutely no problem with LeBron James doing whatever he can as a father, player, would-be GM to get his son where he wants him to be.
And not that it matters too much for this conversation, but our colleague Lev Akabas did a really good data viz last week about NBA draft picks and how they pan out. And the 55th overall pick is an absolute crapshoot, it seems like, already in NBA world. So he was not taken in the first round. I think this conversation is maybe different if he was, but this is a little bit of dartboard territory as it is, I think, for NBA teams in this standing. And yeah, you can certainly also make an argument that, as we've seen as we talked about last week with sons of other NBA players in the past, that there may be actually some untapped value in it. Part of this whole conversation, or right afterwards, Scott, came out that LeBron will opt out of the last year of his Lakers deal and become a free agent. That is not the headline that I think some casuals might think it is. I don't think he has any intention of leaving the Lakers, certainly not after Bronny was drafted. But it certainly financially will work out to his benefit. He's 39 years old, I believe. There's a limit to how much he can, or how many years he can sign with the Lakers, but he is going to get, when he negotiates this new contract, a pretty hefty pay bump as it is. Just smart move by LeBron financially. And I'm sure even at his age, he's performing well. And for all the reasons, the Lakers will happily give him a bigger contract to keep him in yellow.
I wish Lev was here, because I just quickly gave the Google best number 55 NBA draft picks. Okay, all right, so Bronny James is like right now number one on the list. Do you know when
he's the best already?
So it says, do you know an I Wong went to the Pacers? Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Me neither. G Santos, Warriors?
Nope.
A Wiggins, Thunder?
And no, that's not Andrew Wiggins.
I don't think it's Andrew Wiggins. Yeah. Different. J. Oh, this is sort of, I like it, funny. J Scrub, the Nets.
Okay.
K Guy, A Kulboka.
These are the best. Or this is just a list.
This was chosen. No, I think I Googled for the best. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
These are 55 overall draft picks. The best, here, you get this in Google right here. The best 55th pick in NBA history would be current Miami Heat guard Patty Mills.
Okay.
Selected in 2009. Some other notable number 55 picks include Mark Ivoroni. You're too young to know Mark Ivoroni.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mark Blount, Kenny Gaddison, and Etwan Moore.
Okay.
So I know Kenny Gaddison. I know Mark Ivoroni. All right, Patty Mills.
If you can draft anybody who turns out to be those players, huge success, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure, obviously, if you went to the bottom of that list, there would be dozens of players we've never heard of. Just to underscore that,
as I just proved.
Exactly, as you already listed off 5 of them.
As I just misunderstood and read.
This is not a first round pick, and this is not a second round pick in the way that NFL fans probably think about them. The value here is there's a lot of volatility, regardless of what you're drafting for.
Speaking of volatility, we had a little more news in the NHL with our friends out in Arizona and the Coyotes. It isn't every day where franchises go poof, but looks like the land auction has been canceled, meaning Alex Meruelo was not going to have the arena he wanted, and he has given up on a new version of the Coyotes anywhere down the line.
Yeah, not even remotely surprising to me, Scott. The feeling I got from people talking to people in and around the NHL when the Utah team was announced was that while the Coyotes were going dormant, they did not foresee a way in which Alex Meruelo would eventually own another NHL team in Arizona. The fact that he is that he appears to be closing that dream as well this quickly is maybe a surprise, but to me the more interesting question is, does the NHL still believe in the Phoenix area as a market? I think it does.
Yes.
The most obvious logical result here is Matt Ishbia, right, who was looking for a downtown arena for the Suns, has a lot of money. He's in this new mold of new age owner in the same way I think of Ryan Smith, who took the Coyotes players and business ops and team and took it up to Salt Lake City. That to me, if I was a betting man, would be the result, is that at some point in the next 5 years, the NHL does put together a concrete plan to go back to Phoenix, and that Matt Ishbia is the owner there. But land auction canceled or not, yeah, it seemed like an absolute long shot that Alex would ever get back to a place where other NHL owners and Gary Bettman were comfortable with him stewarding a team. It just didn't seem like it was in the cards.
This would explain why every time we hear about person A or person B or city A or city B wants a insert name of league here, what is the first question asked? What?
Who?
No, well, who? But no. What is the arena situation?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a building? You have to have a viable building for this team to play in.
This was the dagger for the Coyotes.
This was the dagger. Yeah,
years trying to figure it out. Had to play in a microscopic, by NHL standards, arena for the past few years.
I'm a little bummed I didn't get the chance to see a game at Mullet. I'm a little bummed.
100% agree. I feel the exact same way. And we were in Phoenix in November, right? Last year or 2 years ago.
I just thought we'd have more time. You know, that's the common lament, Eben. I thought we'd have more time.
Yeah. Put Sarah McLachlan in the background here. Yeah. We'll see. But again, yeah, that's my general take here is it wasn't going to work for Meruelo, whether he got this land auction or not. And now the question becomes, if they do go back, who is it? And if it's not Ishbia, I would be surprised.
Yeah, and I know I was going to let you close it out there, but I got to say, just coming across the wire now with the Woj and the Shams and the dollar figures going to these NBA players, that's before the new media deals kick in. I mean, you're going to have end of bench players making what? $8, $9, $10 million a year.
Those guys you just mentioned, Guy and Jim Stubbs.
Yeah, the number 55 pick is making $10 million a year, no matter who he is.
They're all going to be making money. Yeah, it's a good time to be. Revenues are soaring. The roster spaces are few and far between. It is a good time to be an NBA fan or NBA player. Sorry, he is Scott Soshnick. You can find him on Twitter at Soshnick. I am Eben Novi Williams. Find me. You
struggled
on Twitter
with the closing. The last closing you struggled
with.
Yeah,
Williams. The show is produced by Aaron.
Met your mother, by the way. We didn't discuss. I met your mother.
Sportico
struggled right there. That was it. One mention of Nita Novi throws him off.
Sporticast, which is the hub of the Sportico.
Love the meeting. Love Nita. Very
Network.
Gracious host.
Love you, Mom.